They say legends aren't born, they're built, one piston at a time. And in 1967, Plymouth built a quiet legend that few have ever seen. The 1967 Plymouth Satellite 426 HEMI, a car so rare that only 6 were ever produced. 6 machines that carried the beating heart of a monster under an unassuming mid-size body. On a long, empty stretch of highway, this satellite could push beyond 130 miles per hour, a speed that few sedans of its time could even dream of. The roar of the 426 HEMI echoed through the night, shaking everything in its path. This wasn't a car for the average driver, it was built for those who wanted to own the road, not just drive on it. The satellite looked calm, composed, and pure, but beneath the hood was raw, mechanical fury waiting to explode. One press of the throttle and you'd feel it, a deep growl that would send shivers down your spine. It was elegance hiding insanity, beauty wrapped around brute strength. Engine details. At its core was the 426 cubic inch HEMI V8, producing a jaw-dropping 425 horsepower and 490 lb-ft of torque. The hemispherical combustion chambers gave it unmatched breathing power, making it one of the most efficient and explosive engines of its era. Paired with a heavy-duty TorqueFlite 727 automatic or a 4-speed manual, this engine transformed the modest satellite into a full-blown street predator. Only a handful of these cars survive today, each one a ghost from the golden age of muscle. The 1967 Plymouth Satellite 426 HEMI wasn't made for everyone. It was made for the few who dared to chase the sound of thunder. Number 2 to 1966 Dodge Coronet Deluxe 4-door 426 HEMI. They called it impossible. A family sedan, built for grocery runs and Sunday drives, but hiding a heart that could tear the pavement apart. This is the 1966 Dodge Coronet Deluxe 4-door 426 HEMI, one of the strangest and rarest combinations in Mopar history. Only 5 of these ever rolled out of the factory. 5 family cars, with the soul of a race monster. Imagine this, you're sitting in traffic beside a plain, boxy 4-door Dodge. Nothing flashy, no stripes, no badges screaming for attention. And then, the light turns green. That quiet sedan explodes forward, roaring past everything in sight. The same car that could carry your kids to school, could also destroy Camaros on the weekend. Back in 1966, Dodge wasn't just building cars, they were experimenting with power. They took their most potent engine, the legendary 426 HEMI, and tucked it inside a body nobody expected. It was madness disguised as modesty. The kind of car that laughed at logic and won. On open roads, it could top 130 miles per hour, but it wasn't about top speed. It was about shock value, watching jaws drop as this grandpa sedan unleashed pure, unapologetic horsepower. Number 3 to 1970 Dodge Super B 426 HEMI. They say a bee's sting is small, but deadly. In 1970, Dodge took that idea literally and built a car that could sting any rival on the street. This was the 1970 Dodge Super B 426 HEMI, the wild, aggressive, street fighter of the Mopar family. Only 36 of these monsters were ever built. And each one was pure chaos wrapped in bright paint and thunder. The Super B wasn't meant to be polite. It was loud, raw, and rebellious, the car that middle-class dreamers bought to scare Mustangs and humiliate Chevelles. Its bold hood scoops, cartoon Super B logo, and muscular stance told everyone, this car means trouble. On a good stretch of road, this buzzing brute could hit 140 miles per hour, roaring like an unleashed beast. The tires screamed, the exhaust thundered, and that 426 HEMI under the hood made every shift feel like a lightning strike. It didn't glide, it attacked the asphalt. Back then, the Super B was Dodge's answer to affordable muscle. But when someone ticked the box for the optional 426 HEMI, the car went from affordable to ferocious. It became something else, a working man's weapon of speed. Engine details. Beneath the twin-scoop hood lay the legendary 426 cubic inch street HEMI V8, delivering 425 horsepower and 490 lb-ft of torque. The engine featured dual 4-barrel Carter AFB carburetors and a high-flow exhaust that gave it that unmistakable growl. Buyers could choose between a heavy-duty 4-speed manual transmission with a Hurst shifter or the TorqueFlite 727 automatic, both reinforced for HEMI punishment. With its 10.25 to 1 compression ratio and racing DNA, this engine wasn't made for comfort, it was made for combat. Today, the 1970 Dodge Super B426 HEMI stands as a symbol of unfiltered American muscle, a car with no filters, no pretense, just brute power and street attitude. Every rumble from its exhaust reminds you of an era when cars had personalities and the Super B's was pure rebellion. This wasn't just a Mopar. It was a warning on wheels. Some cars are powerful. Some are beautiful. But only a few become legends. And none shine brighter than the 1971 Plymouth HEMI Cuda convertible, the holy grail of the muscle car world. This car wasn't just rare. It was almost mythical. Only 11 were ever built, and just 2 with 4-speed manuals. That's not production, that's perfection in limited form. When this beast rolled out, it was more than a car, it was a statement. The 71 HEMI Cuda convertible was the ultimate blend of luxury, aggression, and raw HEMI power. It could scream past 140 miles per hour, roof down, wind roaring, and that unmistakable V8 thunder echoing for miles. It was the kind of car you didn't just drive, you commanded it. The wide shaker hood scoop wasn't just for looks, it fed cold air directly into the HEMI's hungry heart. And those bold curves, side gills, and menacing grille made it one of the most recognizable silhouettes in muscle car history. Owning one meant you didn't follow trends, you set them. And today, each surviving HEMI Cuda convertible is worth millions, not just for its rarity, but for what it represents, the final, glorious chapter of true American muscle. Engine details. Under the hood sat the legendary 426 cubic inch street HEMI V8, rated at 425 horsepower and 490 lb-ft of torque. It featured dual Carter AFB 4-barrel carburetors, hemispherical combustion chambers, and a 10.25 to 1 compression ratio, a race-bred engine tamed just enough for the street. Buyers could choose between the A833 4-speed manual transmission or the TorqueFlite 727 automatic, both reinforced to handle the HEMI's brutal output. With proper tuning, this convertible could rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 5 seconds, and run the quarter mile in the high 13-second range. Today, the 1971 Plymouth HEMI Cuda convertible isn't just rare, it's sacred. It marks the peak of the muscle era, a time when automakers pushed limits, and drivers dared to dream bigger. It was fast, fearless, and free, the last true roar before the storm of regulations silenced an age. The 71 HEMI Cuda convertible didn't just make history. It became history. Number 5. In 1969, Chevrolet built something so powerful, so rare, that even its own engineers weren't sure it should exist. It wasn't made for showrooms, it was built to win. This is the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, the secret weapon of the muscle car wars. On the surface, it looked like any other first-gen Camaro, clean lines, aggressive stance, and the soul of a street fighter. But under that hood was something almost alien. An all-aluminum 427 cubic inch big block V8, lighter, stronger, and angrier than anything Chevy had ever unleashed. Only 69 units were ever built, each one ordered under the radar through Chevrolet's COPO program, the Central Office Production Order. Why so secretive? Because this engine was meant for the racetrack, not the streets. But a few brave dealers, like Fred Gibbs Chevrolet, decided to break the rules and gave birth to one of the most legendary muscle cars of all time. The ZL1 could storm past 140 miles per hour and run the quarter mile in the high 11-second range, faster than almost anything else from Detroit. It was raw, violent, and brutally efficient. Every throttle press was a declaration of war against physics itself. It wasn't meant to be comfortable. It wasn't even meant to be practical. It was meant to be dominant. Engine details. The ZL1 was powered by a hand-built, 427 cubic inch, 7.0L, aluminum big block V8, officially rated at 430 horsepower, but in truth, it made closer to 500 plus horsepower. It used an all-aluminum block and heads, a solid lifter camshaft, 12.0:1 compression, and an 850 CFM Holley carburetor sitting atop an aluminum intake manifold. The engine weighed nearly 100 pounds less than a standard iron 427, giving the Camaro an incredible power-to-weight ratio. All ZL1s came with a 4-speed Muncie transmission, a 12-bolt positraction rear end, and heavy-duty suspension components borrowed from the Copo drag package. Today, the 1969 Camaro ZL1 is a symbol of pure American engineering rebellion. A car that shouldn't have existed, but did. It was born in secret, built for speed, and remembered forever as one of the rarest and most feared machines of its time. The ZL1 wasn't just a Camaro. It was a legend with a license plate.